A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4.
Then Araya so sinning.
Matna Ghana 20-something years.
And Wabu Fontina, my ECG, DumSor.
Oh, ready.
Don't worry, we shall give you life. We are working on it.
Let us if we have a banner way.
And a ECG.
ECG is not a generator of power.
Can I have your attention for a couple minutes? Got some things I need to mention. I hope you let me finish.
Pastor Mensa Otabil describes the current situation as a result of a lack of wisdom. Some Ghanaians are horribly frustrated with the situation right now and have taken to destroying property and equipment of the state provider. And strangely enough, or interestingly enough, Yvonne Nelson has added a voice, this week, talking about how the situation has become so freaking annoying. It's the AM show, and we're adding our voice to the energy crisis in Ghana, the power crisis in Ghana. We want to know what some of our young people think. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Was there any DumSor before you came?
Oh yeah. They gave me some 3 days off, but then they reminded me that they were still around. So I had to use a box iron to church today.
I haven't seen a box iron in ages.
Yes, actually.
What is the current situation right now? What is happening in Ghana?
It's like we are in a big disco, and the lights keep going and come, but it's not fun. When you're in disco and it gets
dark. The disco is no fun.
Yeah, it's no fun. When it's in a disco and it gets dark, it gets more fun. But in this disco, when it gets dark, it gets hot, it gets frustrating. Freaking annoying. That's what it. So
what are the facts right now? What do we have on the ground? We are experiencing load shedding.
Yes,
we are experiencing what is it? A 12-hour.
It's 24.
No, it's a 12-hour power outage.
12-hour power outage with 24 hours of power and then another 12-hour power.
That's the whole thing. That's what is on paper.
That's what's on paper. That's
on the ground. There are sharp contradictions.
That is where we are right now.
Yeah. So they claim there is a timetable we need to follow, and so everybody should go by that timetable. But sometimes there are so many discrepancies on the ground, and you get confused. You don't really know if they are following the timetable. So, for instance, last night we had light off.
Who is we?
At Denta, those of us in Denta had power outage last night, and it came back this morning around 6:30. I couldn't go to church, so I was still around, and by 10.
Yeah, blame it on the lights.
No, I don't blame it on the light, but I mean, well, somehow. And it came. They took the light again around 10. So I called the office, and they said they had already had a report on that, and so they were working on it. 30 minutes later, the lights came back. So it probably meant whoever was in charge to go and switch that thing off went and, switch our own off again. And yes, my cousin at the Raka tells me their place they really experience light off. I mean, if they experience it just once a week.
Wow.
So it means the timetable doesn't cover everywhere, and they're not following it. You understand? And so it doesn't help you to plan, because then maybe you have light off in the house in the evening, and you probably might decide to go elsewhere, and that works for you. The following morning, you have light. You are home and there is no light.
They take it out.
Exactly. So that alone is a problem.
Current situation on the ground.
Well, my take is basically on the fact that the load shedding has been extended to the big players, the corporations, the industries, hospitals. That is the major concern. Now, if a hospital is experiencing load shedding, okay, and the light is not even following the schedule, as he said, we are killing people. We are making waste of drugs. Now, there again, they will tell you the inefficiency is due to the fact that these hospitals are not paying bills. And I agree with them to an extent, but that is a lousy excuse. I mean, over the past 50 years, we've been using electricity for some time. Now, it's their responsibility as successive governments, politicians, or whatever they want to call themselves, to know that the future comes with its attendant problems. So we need to meet the present consumption. But our leaders have failed in that.
And for industries as well. I mean, industries move the economy. And I personally don't see how we can extend that to them as well. All right.
I have said as president, but that by the end of the first year of my next term in office, load shedding will be a thing of the past because
this is Ghana.
Yeah, exactly. This is Ghana.
The gateway to Africa.
West Africa.
Self-proclaimed, self-described gateway to Africa.
The black star.
The black star of Africa. That's why it's black. Gateway.
It actually was in the beginning, I think so. So going to be the black star.
Going to be the black star. We are supposed to be the shining light.
We are stalling.
Yes.
We are stalling.
But if we are the gateway, I don't like if there was a gate. People, but we are only the gateway during the day.
Yeah.
Nice time people will see us.
Yes.
How has the situation gotten to this point?
I think with like everything else, you have played politics with our planning, especially our planning and our implementation. Because one thing about Ghana is that surprised that we have a lot of plans, a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of things on a drawing board, a lot of things that have been set in place as contingencies.
You like that?
Yeah, but then the political will to do the right thing, to make sure this money is spent on this, to make sure this money that is supposed to be spent on this is not spent on another thing. That's what has brought us here. I won't see if it'll be easy to say you have lack planning, but then if somebody working at Great Co will hear this, the person will tell you they've planned adequately. But I think the political will, we have played too much politics with our energy, and right now successive governments, I mean, it's not as if it's a fault of one government. Successive governments have done the same mistakes. When they are in a position, they blame. They tell you when they come in power, it will be solved. When they come into power, then the power goes.
And the power goes.
Yeah.
Nancy, what do you think? Why are we in this situation?
I think political interference, the way our governments have been changed, and
democracy that's you need to be personal.
Well, that's what I think. When a new government take power, then he decides what should be. He tells you what should happen, not what should be. You get it? So then it means that if the boss at ECG or VRE or whatever, possibly they made plans on what to do maybe for the next 2 years, next 4 years. The government has come into power, and for the next 4 years, they also have their plans, and they are telling you that. Recently, the managing director for ECG has been reassigned. Okay? Reassigned. Assuming people are protesting because apparently he's doing well. His own colleagues are saying he's really doing well. So let's just say he is doing well. Okay, he's out of position.
Let's assume he's doing well.
He's out of position. What happens? Now the government appoints somebody else. He comes
on. New Ministry of Power.
Exactly. He comes on with his own policies and decides to go or toe the line of the government.
Continuity.
Yes. So continuity is lost.
Also, yeah. I mean, shouldn't the country have an energy plan?
Yes, I think so. It should be independent of political interference and everything. I mean, this thing can be put in the constitution.
Not we can't put this in the constitution per se, but shouldn't how, because if you actually talk, if you listen to VRA, they actually plans. But why does there have to be?
Yeah, there are plans, but as Nancy and Lord already said, political interference. So ECG has plans, but they have to come and consult government to get whatever sponsorship they want. So if there is let's say a 10-year development plan for our energy sector, and we say this is devoid of political interference, then we can do it. It doesn't matter whoever comes to power. If Mr. A comes to power, this is what he must do. He's already on the drawing board, and that is what he has to follow. But once we leave it to the intuition of the various, whoever we appoint to occupy whatever position, and also whatever party he belongs to, whatever party that comes to power, then things will always change. Because, I mean, politics or democracy, politics in Ghana, we don't support each other. Once you're in the opposing party and I come, whatever good ideas you have, I kick them out and I bring my own good ideas because I have my own personal agenda attached to that. So that is the term. Political interference is the main.
Political interference. Yes. What do you think? Especially, let me focus more on the type of generation of power we are doing, which has mainly been hydro until these thermal plants have even come up. With not quite recently, but they are a new development. Couldn't we have thought of these things much earlier?
Well,
why do we always have to blame the water level?
There must always be someone to blame. I mean, at the end of the day, there should be someone to take the blame.
So you blame the water?
Yeah, but I'm saying, now,
someone with the water.
GRIPCO, ECG, I stand to be corrected. But all these are government institutions or corporations, and they were set up by an act of parliament, I believe. Yes. Now, parliamentarians sit in parliament and create this act. Now, these same parliamentarians should know that in the next 20 years, God may decide not to let rain fall. Now, if there's no water in the dam, what are we going to do?
This happened in 1982 or
1982. So what if it happens again for a decade? They are too busy in parliament investigating DumSor. When they should sit in parliament, we make laws, right, and we bend them. Parliament is able to bend laws on our behalf. So if these acts or these corporations are stifled in a way, Parliament should sit down and give them a leeway to be able to look at other sources of energy generation. Recently, I had a president say there was a committee, as usual, set up to look into alternative sources of energy. I don't know what has become of it. Maybe it's another one that has been packed down for maybe the next 50 years for us to look at. But if we want to continue like this, if we don't have a solid development plan for energy, that will take us like the next 50 years. Then we have Parliament has failed us as representatives of the people. And in fact, failing all Ghanaians. I mean, it doesn't help the situation at all.
Ghana, you say you Ghana local. If you are not more chance, so no, I'm not best. You will from. Ghana functional electricity functional Ghana,
ECG is the electricity company of Ghana, so the name is synonymous with electricity. So everybody hears ECG, they are like, okay, they are the ones who.
You think they're the ones who give us that?
Exactly, but then there's the Volta River Authority, there's the Ghana Grid Company. The Volta River Authority is responsible for producing the power.
Do they generate?
They generate the power. Yeah, whether it's thermal, whether it's hydro, they are supposed to generate it. And then
whether it's thermal or hydro, so it's important to know that we have thermal plants and we have hydro, Kosombo hydro and Gui hydro. But we have thermal plants.
Then there's a Ghana Grid Company which transmits the power from Volta River Authority. So it's like a chain of command or whatever that leads up to ECG. So ECG is the last point. It's like there's a producer, there's a wholesaler, then there's a retailer. That's how it is. So then the retailer is ECG. They transmit the power, but because they are responsible for collecting the monies directly from the people for their electricity, then don't forget there's a PURC.
Exactly.
The Public Electricity Commission, which regulates tariff, tells ECG when to do this, and ECG also goes to, and VRA and GRIPCO also goes to ECG to tell them that to PURC tell them that they think they should increase the tariffs and all that. And so right now we know that ECG is not the only party to blame. Because they can only distribute as much as they get. That's why they even share the load, because if they can't get enough load for everybody, they have to distribute it among everybody.
But so does that absolve them of any?
No, I don't think so.
At all. I mean, because I read somewhere that before you come in, I read somewhere that the power they get, they lose 30% of the power. That's lost.
Given to them.
They lose 30%, as much as 30% is lost.
How?
To illegal connections, to their own inefficiencies, to a lot of things. Yeah,
illegal connections.
Yes.
I
think they should be the first one to be blamed, because we all know that power plants are not producing to full capacity. But the little they give you should be able to manage it. But they don't do. As I said, 30% is already lost, and the one that they comes through illegal connections and stuff, they don't get to reclaim all the monies. And their food soldiers are also to blame. I don't know if they are not paid enough, but when they come to the front and they detect these illegal connections, they arrange illegal meetings with the victims, the culprits involved, and take illegal monies. Yes.
You arrange illegal meetings,
and take illegal monies.
What also illegalities?
Illegalities. Meanwhile, these people are supposed to, fish out these culprits and bring them to book. They don't do so. They just come and then call you and pay some 2,000 Ghana cedis to them, and that is it. So you have companies, we have heavy industries, homes, individuals who are using the little power that we're able to produce at no cost. And even these people sometimes help in the illegal connections, in the sense that they produce, in fact they facilitate it. They produce, they provide the meters and everything. You can see the meter there, but the connection is not, it doesn't pass through the meter. But they produce it, they provide.
They arrange this sort of thing,
yes.
And then they take some money from
And they take some money. And at the end of the month, they will still go and take salary. They claim they're working.
I mean, but it's not just the foot soldiers. I mean, there are actual people on the ground as well who are actually doing this on their own.
Yes, and the foot soldiers don't help, they facilitate it.
When they find this out, they tend
to do it with knife, and because of something little that will come out of it.
You don't know the foot soldiers. The big men in office are also part. They know.
One day, I went to a friend's house, and apparently they had been paying money to the landlord to go and pay the electricity bills. This man has not done that for 2 years.
Wow.
So it's like they had ECG people had a tip off, and so they came and took away the meter. The man owed about 6,000 cedis. That was the bill they brought. And the following day, he just made some calls. One guy from the group came back. Yes. After the car left, a guy from the group came back in the evening and spoke with the landlord. So the landlord just talked with the tenants and they put some money together. I think it was a little over 1,000 cedis and gave it to them. They didn't bring the meter back. They just told them to connect, and that was it.
Wow.
They connected.
Wow.
Because you don't necessarily need the meter to get the light, because that's what is mainly raise the light. They can get it directly from the pole, and that was what they did. And I guess it's still on.
Well, I think that either last year or last year, I think that there was since, so I'm sure it's last year. Anas had this documentary on exposés, yes, on these things. And one thing I realized from his expose or from his documentary was something about MasterCard. So that someone comes and sells a MasterCard to you, and I don't know whether you insert it into your meter or something, but for the rest of your life, you don't need to pay bills, electricity bills. So you'll be using the light without paying anything. And some of the culprits or some of the criminals were actually workers of ECG. So however they get it, they bring it down. And Anas tried to buy one, and he actually got one.
Wow.
So
this happened.
This happened.
So I mean, we cannot lay the blame solely on ECG, but some way somehow there are some irregularities that go on in ECG that add to the whole problem.
Yes, and maybe, just maybe, let's also extend it a little to the consumer.
Yes.
I mean, if you are responsible enough and know that I'm using electricity, I want to help Ghana, I want to better my country, yet you're refusing to make payments, then what do you want the other person to do? So yes, they are at fault, but consumers also, I think we should be responsible.
Yeah. So do you think privatization is the best way to go for it for ECG?
But you are so far from us. Yes, it's the best thing to do. They've even kept on. I mean, how many years now since I was born? I've been talking about this thing. This is the moment. The moment is they must do. Look at my hair because of no light. I've been using this hair for the past 3 weeks because I can't do it. I hate ECG in my life. I think it is straight in my natural hair. It's not a thing.
Today we hear that when the Chiabo gas project comes on board, our energy problems will be solved. Tomorrow we hear this, the next day we hear that. So I think there should be a concentrated effort by all agencies involved that we come up with a feasible long-term plan to deal with this situation head-on, because any short-term approach wouldn't work out well for us.
I think the solution, they are looking at longer term. I mean, they are trying to shift from shorter term solutions like doing load shedding, like buying gas from Nigeria.
Anyway,
we hope that these solutions are more longer term, like, because when you are using coal in the next 20 years, everybody will try to stop using coal. So I wonder what will happen with that. And then with the gas.
But basically, let's get this straight. So the coal is to power thermal.
Yeah. But I don't know
where basically we are trying to move away from hydro to
because hydro is getting out of, what should I say, fashion.
It is,
because it's not that reliable and all that. So for they are saying they're diversifying. So I think we should look at coal. Yeah.
And then on the ground as well, our thermal plants and things. Hearing they're trying to do some expansion as well.
Atwabo is now working. It's now supplying gas to Agwazi. Agwazi, we hopefully be operating at its full capacity to add more megawatts to the chain and all that. But yeah, again, you just hope these are not mere plans on the table, because that's what Muhammad did, and then he got found out. He looked at things and like, okay, I'll get this here, I'll get this here, I'll get this here.
Like he said, out of his control, he couldn't get it. So by this time, I hope there are contingency measures. They just rely on, like, okay, this should come, this should come. That's what we did for Bui. When we heard about Bui, we thought we'll never get like difficult lights. Like, we're like, oh, we another Bui, but we just produced 400 megawatts. That's
now it's producing 90.
And it's supposed to produce, again, it looked said to produce 400, but it's producing 90. Not even 1/3 of its capacity.
Nancy.
Well, I'm just saying that government should stay out of ECG's business. The political interference is just too much. And I also think that if ECG is dependent on government for funds, if VRE is dependent on government, GRID is dependent on government, and then all ECG is also dependent on government, definitely almost a shared government and rule. So if they decide to do anything, government will also decide to bite them. So they have to be in the good books of the government. Therefore, they have to toe the line of the government. So I just think that government should just stay out.
But these are states. These are state entities.
Then possibly they should limit the interference. Yes.
And it shouldn't be a political
maybe financially, I don't know how that can be done. Maybe financially they should be made independent because.
Do you think we should privatize?
Well, it will be to our own good and benefit if that happens.
So?
To a certain extent. Okay, because.
To place a utility like electricity
in the hands
of private
for that matter.
Like a partnership.
A collaboration,
yes. But then the thing I've realized with Ghana government and collaboration is that usually the private sector tends to have more the collaboration. You realize that the percentage of the private man is more than the percentage of the government. Yes. So even if you do that, so even if you do that, still the private person would have a higher advantage.
Also, don't you think if they actually struck a deal that made it a little bit, it was more equal sharing, do you think there's any benefit from privatizing?
Well, there's a benefit, but I don't, full privatization, I'm not too sure how that would wholly help Ghanaians. At least partnership would be okay. And so government should be on its feet, be fair and to the terms of contract and make sure that they have a good deal. But as you said, over the years, whatever we've been doing, government has always been failing. They lose out in the contracts. Yes, so the private companies tend to have more power and they're always in control because they have the money. Yes, but they have the money and you have the resource what they're looking for. So you are of equal weight. I don't know why then the argument should tilt us in favor of the private companies. But in addition to that, I want to just chip in something. This is not a long-term solution, but I think total blackout would not help. Maybe, ECG could devise ways of rather stepping down the power. So for instance, in the night, maybe I just need lights to read or to do something to see my way through. So if you step it down to an extent that if I plug my TV, it can't come on. If I plug my fridge, whatever, it can't come. But once I switch on my light, it comes. Once I charge my phone, it comes. That is enough. So I think ECG should rather look at that instead of giving us a total blackout.
I'm not an expert in resources and renewable blah blah blah, but I know for sure Ghana is blessed with a lot of resources. Look, do you know the amount of waste we generate in a day? And we want to bury that waste, polluting the environment. Go to Mamobi, go to Nima, the public toilets. You know the amount of forgive me, the amount of waste they generate. We want to bury it. Exactly. Okay. Why has Ghana not decided to look into? For all you know, people have suggested maybe there have been homegrown solutions to the whole thing, but the government has not looked into it to see its feasibility.
About windmills.
Recently, I heard someone decided to do University of Ghana a service of fixing solar panels for them.
I think Presec Legon.
Now,
a year group have done that.
Government will not look into it because they claim it's expensive. But the question is, good things come at a price, don't they? Now, the amount of sunshine we enjoy in Ghana alone a day, and we are allowed to go waste, beats my mind. And we are not doing anything about it. There are students who sit at Tech and write thesis upon thesis, MPhils and masters of what and doctors of philosophy alternative sources of energy. But
they actually come out with things. I remember I watched on the KSM show some years back tech students who had actually come up with this nice solar. They actually have the things done. They just need people to push them, government to push them.
What has government pushed them? I think not necessarily government. Let's allow the public sector. I mean the private sector to also push them, because if you have an industry, you have an Association of Ghana Industries (AGI) who are complaining about the power. I mean, if you want the power to help these people who have homegrown solutions, it's not about what you have heard from other countries. What do we have in Ghana? We have sun. We have wind. Let's use that. What has been written on this? Then the tech students
have a certain issue, and if you go to the north, the wind is just
exactly. Why can't we put windmills in the northern region to let that power the northern region?
Yes.
Why can't we do that?
I mean, solar could power homes. Maybe then ECG, the one from VIA, could then power industries or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
They will lose money to push forward their campaigns.
Exactly. But actually, the VIA
invest. During the campaign season, they will not get any money.
I'm in chains, you're in chains too. Our uniforms and you were uniforms too. I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner too, Mr. Jailer. I have fears, you have fears too. If I die, another go work for you. So you treat me like a mother's slave, Mr. Jailer. I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let he who is without sin be the first to cast the stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer man. Mr. Jailer man, Mr. Jailer man, There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. There is fire on the mountain top, and no one is surrounded. There is fire on the mountain, but then nobody seems to be on the run. There is fire. Won't you run? Won't you run? Won't you run? Hey, 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 hey. Hey, I wake up now. I see you as you live, you live, you live. I see it, I feel it as you live. Me back here.
Alright, so that's it for our second ramp episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This is actually our last part one episode for this first season. We'll have a special epic Christmas edition for you in the next 2 weeks, so make sure you don't miss it. So thank you for staying with us throughout. Continue to stay armed.
Hope you guys had a wonderful time, man. It's just a little something that we're trying to do. We don't sing yet, but we're trying to sing. Yeah, so. We're young, and we have to do things the right way. So let's do it right. Let's do it right. Let's do it right. Let's go the genuine way. A little piece of advice, man, to my fellas, to my girls, to my homies, to everybody y'all watching. Charlie. Hear that? One, two, or share.